Subscribe to LearnCap and hit the bell icon to get notified.
Let's continue with capital and revenue expenditures. I believe all of you know what is capital and revenue, right? Many people don't know why it is called capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. To make it very simple, I have got an example. The next slide here that I'm going to share with you. Yeah. Always remember, whenever you want to learn something interesting, you have to learn with example. So I have kept a very simple example in front of you. Example, purchase of car. And on the other side, you have paid for petrol or diesel or CNG, whatever. Now, based on these two examples, let us understand the features. Purchase of car. What does that mean? Purchase of car here means purchase of fixed asset. Alright. So, आपने fixed asset purchase किया. And whereas paying for petrol is an operating expense. Now, what is meant by operating expense? Operating expense simply means an expense which is required for day-to-day operations. So, for example, if I am running a coaching class, my operations are daily activities like running a class. So, any expense which I conduct at that time, say paying salary to my staff, paying my electricity bill, paying for my internet connection, all of these are my operating expenses, expenses related to operations. Okay. Whereas buying a car is purchase of fixed asset. Then, number two, heavy amount. As you can see from the example, capital expenditure amount is heavy, it is in lakhs. Whereas paying petrol, although costly, petrol is very costly nowadays, it is still less heavy as compared to the capital expenditure. I hope you understand. Okay. And the third point here, buying a car is non-recurring, right? Buying a car is a non-recurring expense, right? What does that mean? This expense will not happen again and again and again. Unless you are a taxi business and for you buying a car is like a regular thing. But for a regular business, let's say I am running a factory or I am running a trading business, then मेरे लिए कार खरीदना ये रोज का खर्चा नहीं है. It is non-recurring. It is not going to repeat. Whereas paying petrol, buying petrol is going to be a recurring expense. जितना गाड़ी चलेगा उतना ये खर्चा बार बार करना पड़ेगा. I hope you are understanding. Okay? So ये एक एग्जाम्पल लिया है. अगर मैंने कार खरीदी, ये जस्ट एक एग्जाम्पल है. It could be buying machinery, it could be buying computer, it could be buying a building. This is just an example which is applicable for any capital expenditure. Then, next one, long-term benefit. If you buy a fixed asset, if you buy a car, उसका benefit long term तक मिलेगा. It will be beneficial for years to come. At least 4, 5, 6, 7, sometimes even 10 years. Right? Whereas आप petrol डालोगे, short term. Now, some people are a bit confused with, sir, petrol less than a year? Sir, it is less than a week. Whether it is less than a week or less than a month, for us what is important is this. Year से कम है ना, मतलब वो revenue expenditure. It could be expense for a day, for a week, for 6 months. So long as it is within 1 year, it is a revenue expenditure. Okay? And the next one is, if your benefit is long term, that means this expense needs to be carried forward. अगर ये expense long term है तो इसका benefit एक साल में खत्म नहीं हो रहा है, मतलब इसका account close होने वाला नहीं है, तो इसको कहाँ दिखाना पड़ेगा? Balance sheet. We'll have to show it in the balance sheet. Whereas आपका ये benefit short term है, less than a year है, that means this account needs to be closed. So it will be transferred to profit and loss. अगर आपने पहले का सेशन अटेंड किया, if you have attended my earlier session on final accounts, I hope you remember कि when I say profit and loss account, I am using the broader term. Profit and loss account includes manufacturing, trading, everything. Okay. सो एनीथिंग विच इज 1 ईयर, विद इन 1 ईयर उसका बेनिफिट 1 साल के अंदर खत्म हो जाएगा और आपको उसको क्लोज करना है. दैट इज वाई इट विल बी ट्रांसफर्ड टू P&L. एंड द लास्ट पॉइंट हियर इज a capital expenditure may increase revenue generating capacity. आपके बिजनेस का अर्निंग कैपेसिटी, रेवेन्यू जनरेटिंग कैपेसिटी मीन्स अर्निंग कैपेसिटी. सो बिजनेस का अर्निंग कैपेसिटी बढ़ सकता है, whereas रेवेन्यू एक्सपेंडिचर से ऐसा कोई इंपैक्ट होने वाला नहीं है. इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू हैव एनी इंपैक्ट. नाउ वी जस्ट डिड दिस एज एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ कार एंड पेट्रोल. Now take any example. Furniture. Let's say instead of car, we say any fixed asset. If you buy furniture, computer, machinery, all these points are applicable. Am I right? Instead of petrol, if we talk about any operating expense, if we talk about any operating expense, then we are going to talk about, we can talk about salary, operating expense, less heavy amount, recurring, it is going to happen every month, short term benefit, maximum 1 year, transfer to P&L, and no impact on revenue generating capacity. इससे business का earning बढ़ने वाला नहीं है. So take salaries, take wages, take advertising, take rent, take insurance, all of these operating expenses fit this description. I hope you understand. So you can see the word revenue here. Now, if I say deferred revenue, what does it mean? So, first thing you understand, when we talk about deferred revenue, the middle word is revenue, the middle name is revenue, which means it is basically a revenue expenditure. So all these characteristics apply, operating expense, less heavy amount, blah, 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 all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, the right side column. But what is the meaning of deferred? So always remember, if you really want to go the long distance, remember to understand the meanings of names. So the dictionary meaning of the word deferred is delayed. Deferred means delayed. So if you are not writing off, the entire amount to P&L of 1 year, look at point number 5. But you are doing it step by step, dheere dheere. I'll give you an example, okay? I'll give you an example. Have a look here. Let's say you paid for advertisement. Your normal budget for advertisement is 2 lakhs per annum. Okay? Normal budget is 2 lakhs per annum. Let us say in 21-22 you spent 5 lakhs. New product. You launched a new product and you spent 5 lakhs. Now, advertisement is a revenue expenditure. Advertisement is a revenue expenditure. But if you debit the full 5 lakh rupees to P&L of this year, your profit and loss account will have a big dent. बहुत ज़्यादा खर्चा दिखेगा. Too much expense. And your net profit will appear very low. Am I making sense to you? Where you normally put 2 lakhs, if this year you suddenly dump 5 lakhs in your advertisement account in P&L, your P&L is going to show a big dent. So what experts tell us? Experts tell us, bro, you are going to get benefit of this advertisement for at least 2 to 3 years. You have campaigned so much, you did so much social media advertising, you did so much on the railway station, you distributed pamphlets outside departmental store, बहुत अच्छा काम किया है, बहुत अच्छा campaigning किया है. So your expert will say that people won't forget it for 2 to 3 years. So let us write off advertisement over 2 years instead of 1 year. So revenue expense का life 1 year होता है, but इसको आप 2 years पे करेंगे. तो 5 lakhs divided by 2 years. So you are going to write off how much? 2.5 lakhs in 21-22 and 2.5 lakhs in 22-23. So what happened? Revenue expense was already made this year. इस साल खर्चा हो गया, the money is gone. जो hoarding आपने लगाया था, that hoarding is removed. It has become it has covered the hut of some poor fellow. Flex वो छप्पर बन गया. But you are not writing off that advertisement in 1 year. You are delaying it. आज इस साल 2,50,000, next year 2,50,000. So revenue expenditure का normal life क्या है? 1 year. But this time you are delaying it to 2 years. That is why this revenue expenditure will have the prefix deferred. Okay, everybody understand? Cool?
Subscribe to LearnCap and hit the bell icon to get notified.